Greetings, Roger. My name is Bryden, and today we'll be presenting our CSC126 group project. So, before we start presenting, allow me to introduce ourselves first. So, our team consists of four people, and the first one is Bryden, which is me, and also the leader of this group. And there's Alit, Ray, Calvin, and Aisha. Moving on to the agenda, there will be total of seven agendas we will be presenting today, starting from introduction, objective of the project, program analysis, pseudocode, flowchart, sample expected output, and lastly, conclusion. Moving on to the introduction, in this era of globalization, technology has become a major influence in our daily life. Technology has managed to make our life more comfortable. With the existence of e-commerce, it has made our life much more easier because it allow user to shop anywhere they want and they can transfer their funds electronically. Our project, which is an e-commerce clothing shop, aims to ease online shopping for the user. The project is designed to display the type of login to the user. The user will be able to choose between logging in as an admin or a customer. Administrators can change the stock of item and add more as well as change the price of items. They will be also be able to check the sale report, which will detail the total sales and how many items have been sold. Customer, on the other hand, will be able to choose multiple items and add them to the cart. They will be also able to set the shipping address. Then they will be able to input a coupon to get a discount on the price of the item or if they have a membership. Lastly, they can check out to see the total price. So moving on to the objective. So our objective of the project is first to enhance customer convenience. We develop a system for customer to easily buy products without the need of sacrificing time and effort of going to a physical location. Second is to streamline administrative process to provide an efficient way for administrators to manage and modify product listing within the system. The third is to ensure user friendliness. We create a program that easily understandable and intuitive to ensure smooth experience on first use. The fourth one is to allow varieties of option. We offer a wide variety of products, enabling customers to choose based on their specific needs and preference. Last but not least is to reduce manual effort. We minimize the amount of manual calculation required from the user in a way to save time and remove errors from any variable. Greetings, Roger. My name is Bryden, and today we'll be presenting our CSC126 group project. So before
Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening, sir. This is Aisha Ayani speaking here to walk you through the problem analysis stage of our program. As you can see, our program requires inputs from the user, such as username, password, member status, and so on, as well as data inputs, which are inputs set by the programmer that can be changed throughout the program. Moving on to the process of our program, which requires the input stated from earlier. Certain processes include the validation, menu navigation, cart management, stock management, and address management. Finally, the output of our program that includes neat menu displays, confirmation messages for clarification, format tables, as well as the final address in the checkout menu.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, sir. My name is Alid bin Abdul Kadir, and due to the time limit, the 10-minute time limit for the presentation, I will only be showing the pseudocode briefly and without in-depth explanations. So this is the pseudocode for global variables. It's where we declare and initialize global variables and arrays that will be used in the program. The next pseudocode is the pseudocode for function integer main. This is the main menu of the program. It calls function login page so that the user can input their choice. So the user can choose whether they like to enter login as an admin or login as a user or log out. This is the pseudocode for the function login page. This shows how the user is presented with options and what the user has to input to enter the to enter the admin pages and the shop pages. This is function shop menu. This is where the user, if the user logs in as a customer, they are able to choose between the different categories of items, shirts, pants, shoes, socks, or outerwear. After this is the function item display. So this function purely to display table of items in shop menu, the category of items that the user can choose from or exit. This is pseudocode display items menu. So this is the same as the previous function, but for specific category. So if the user should chooses shirt, then over here where it says print menu for category, it will say shirt. And then over here will be, it'll take the names of the items from the shirt names array. And for socks and pants, vice versa, is the same also. This is function items menu. So this is the actual items menu. This is where we can see the prompts for the user. So the user for here in this switch case, case 1 and case 2 falls through because it uses the same exact codes as case 3. Over here, the user can choose how much they like to buy, and this input validation. If they're buying more than there is stock of the item, then the program will not allow them to buy more than available. And then it will call function add to cart to add the items that the user bought into the cart. Over here is the same function still, but for the case 4. Case 4 is for the user to exit the menu. Over here, it we initialize some of the variables so that the program loops as intended. This function reset global variables. This is only code in login page. It's to reset all variables that are used for choosing categories. So when the user goes back into the functions will not skip through. It'll ask the user again for input. This is function display card. This is run after at the end of the program. It calls merge display card, which is a function that merges the same items that the user buys will be merged so that there isn't duplicates of the items in the card that's displayed. Over here, the from for loop will print as much item. It will print as many times as the user has bought unique items. And then it will reinitialize variables card index and card count back to 0 so that the program can run again. The user can buy a new buy a new using a new card. This is function merge display card. This is where the items, if they are equal to each other, then they will be merged. And last but not least, this function add to cart. This is where the function items menu, it will call this function, and what this function does is it copies the name of the items and the prices of the items, and then it checks if the user is a member. If the user is a member, they get a 30% discount, and then it will minus the quantities of the item that they bought with the quantity of what they bought, and then it will set cart index to the next one, to the next number, so that when the customer buys another item, it doesn't overwrite the previous item. It continues along the cart array. And then if the item is unavailable, it'll say out of stock. And then it will set the item select and quantity back to 0 so that the user can continue to purchase items properly. That is all. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, sir. My name is Ali bin Abdul Kadir, and due to the 10-minute time limit for the presentation, I will only be showing the pseudocode briefly and without in-depth explanations. So this is the pseudocode for global variables. It's where we declare and initialize global variables, and arrays that will be used in the program. The next pseudocode is the pseudocode for function integer main. This the main menu of the program. It calls function login page so that the user can input their choice. So the user can choose whether they like to enter log in as an admin or log in as a user or log out.
Hello, my name is Mr. Calvin Simon, and I would like to present about the admin section and shipping menu for our group project. Okay, so the shipping menu function, it starts with declaration and then printing out the options. If option one, this, option two, it will say this, else it would be an invalid option, and they would have to loop again, and then after that it will show the address and ask if they want to change it. If they say yes, then it will change here. If no, then it will just do print these out. If else, and it would be invalid. Okay, so next up is the source code for shipping menu. Here's the declaration, and this loops around the table. Uh, and then next up is it shows the address and if they would like to change or not. If yes, then it'll just change it again, or if no, it completely skips over it and just shows the final stuff here. Next up is the function admin main. It starts with declaration, displaying the welcome, and then calling the admin panel. And this takes in whatever input the admin would like to do. And if it's for, it'll log out from here and go back into the main menu. Also, it would just display invalid section. So next up is the function check report. It takes in all these values. There's declaration and calculation here, and then displays the sales report table, and then asks if the user wants to leave or not. Next up is the function product list. It just shows what category of items they would like to view, from 1 to 5, and then 6 if they want to exit, and if it's invalid, it'll tell them an invalid input. Modify product table, which is just displaying the modification options table, and the next one is modify product item based on which item they want to change. Case 1, case 2, and case 3 is how they would like to change it. 4 is exiting, and this one is if it's an invalid input. We have function add stock, which just allows the admin to add stock. It asks admin first and then input the new stock and display the new updated stock. And then next is remove stock, which just shows, which is the same thing as the last one, but it's decrement stock instead. And the function leave menu displays would you like to leave, and then after that it inputs this and returns this. And then admin panel, it just displays the admin menu options. And then next it's the function item total, which starts with initialization and what item total it currently has based on the what item they put in. Next is function display table, which starts with calculation. Display the table based on for each of the item categories, the name, quantity, and average, the total item sales, and the total sales of everything.
And are the flowcharts for the previous functions. This is the flowchart for function integer main. This is the flowchart for function login page. This is the flowchart for function shop menu. This is the flowchart for function items menu. This is the flowchart for function reset global variables. This is the flowchart for function display card. This is the flowchart for function merge display card. And last but not least, this is the function for add to cart.
Next up is the flowchart. It starts with this, and then there's process, and then after that, it allows for of options and repetition before logging out of the admin main. The function admin panel, which is just used to display the admin panel. The next one is function leave menu, which is used if the admin wants to leave. It is in a few of the other sort of flowcharts. The next one is the function modify product table. It just shows the modification table. Next up is function modify product based on the item they receive, which is here. It's the function check report, all of these, decoration options, and then leave report. Product list, it just displays item based on their what they wanted to view. Add stock just allows the user to add stock here, and if it's invalid, it'll just go back up there. Remove stock does the same thing, but in the end, it removes stock instead, based using the decrement instead. Next up is the admin panel, which starts with this array, print up the panel, and then it'll go out from the panel. Next is the check report, which will take all of these inputs, initialize and calculate, and do a loop here for the table until the user wants to leave. Next is the product list. It asks the admin what they would like to view, and it'll just showcase it. And then 6, it leaves, and the default is if it's wrong, it'll try again. Void modify products starts with array, print out the table, and then that's basically it. Modify product functions taken integer item, which is from, and based on that, it'll do what it does here until 4, where it'll leave, and then return exit modify product, where it will just basically exit. Change product allows the user to change the product here. Here's the initializations, all of the code. 1 till 5 repeats the same thing, and then 6 it'll exit from the table here. Add stock does the same thing as the change one, but instead of changing things, it's adding stock. Remove stock does the same thing as the add stock, but it's removing stock. Leave menu is just an exit menu for the admin. Plus stocks allowing the user to add more stock and make sure it's a valid input. Delete stock is just like plus stock, but instead of adding stock, it'll be minusing it. Change product functions just allows the user to change it here based on the input. Change price also just allows them to change the price. Sales allows the program to save what the customer picks based on the code and the quantity of item, and then it adds up to it, and then it'll tell you the total sales of the item. And then it'll return all of these back so that it will be displayed in a table. Okay, so that's all from me. So that's all the functions for admin and shipping menu.
Let's move on to sample expected output of our program. As you can see, this is the screen the user will be first met with. Our program will ask the user for a login type. As you can see, the user has chosen the number 2, which is to log in as customer. Our program will then prompt the user to input their username and password and ask if they're a member. Based on which category the user has chosen before this, our program will then display the list of the items sold in that certain category and prompt the user with which specific item they'd like to buy. Are they sure? And also how many items they'd like to buy. After that, it will add the items bought to the cart as well as add up the total payment of the user. Speaking of payment, the total payment will eventually be displayed by the end of the program when the user chooses to check out. Since that's all from the buyer side, let's move on to the admin side instead. As you can see, the program will once again ask the user for their username and password, but if they fail to input the correct username and password for the admin, it will not allow them access to the admin panel until they input the correct username and password. After succeeding to log in as admin, the program will then prompt the user with a choice of action. As you can see, the user here has chosen to modify the products as well as change the products. Now what this does is essentially allow the user to change existing data in the table and replace it with a new value, that being the product and price of the product being sold in the list. The modify product option also allows the user to add stock, as you can see here, as well as remove stock from the products in the list. Next up, the program also allows the admin to check report sales as well as check the list of products currently being sold.
So, moving on to the conclusion, the launch of an e commerce clothing shop presents an exciting opportunity to tap into the growing digital marketplace. From offering trendy, high quality apparel alongside a smooth online shopping experience, an e commerce shop are able to attract loyal customers as well as future investors. Our group project, which is an e-commerce clothing shop, aims to ease the burden of those who are interested in shopping for clothes which aren't available in their region, alongside giving assistance for users to shop without the effort of going through a physical store. The program aims to help administrators to manage their business by adding or decreasing stock while allowing them to check reports of their business. With this group project, we hope that the skills we have developed are able to be applied for future use. Moreover, we are also hoping that this allow us to deepen our skill related to teamwork and handling of group project. That's all from us. Thank you.